Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Ivy webinar. My name is Vivienne, and I'm an account manager for the Ivy team. So feel free to say hello. I noticed some very familiar names. I know I've met Emma before. Hi. And I know I've seen Catherine before as well come into the office for a face-to-face meeting, which is lovely. So I'm going to just wait a little bit longer to see if anyone else comes into the meeting room. And I'm just going to start off by giving you a brief background on Ivy. So Ivy was started as a software for interior designers to streamline the process of interior design and basically make more time for design and less time doing the things that we don't love to do. So what Ivy does is it does everything from the sourcing of products to the creating of proposals and invoices and all the way through to purchase orders. I've noticed a few more people have joined. Hello, Renata from Cambridgeshire. So feel free to say hello. If you'd like to ask any questions, there's an ask a question button below, and my colleague Lisa will be answering your questions. And I think we are going to wait a couple more minutes for anyone else. Feel free to ask any questions that you have for now, so I can kind of start with those. Okay, so there's nothing for now. I'm just going to start sharing my screen and showing you Ivy. Okay, bear with me while I share my screen. Okay. Can everyone see my Ivy okay? Okay, great. So this is the global dashboard on Ivy, and what it does is it gives you an initial snapshot into all of your projects. So here, if we hover over, it's going to show us the total project revenue that we have. First, it's going to show us the total invoiced versus the total proposed. We can actually hover over any of these colors, and it's going to show us the revenue for that specific project. So as you can see, I've got 3 projects that are currently generating revenue, but I've got 4 open projects here. Next, it's going to show me my hours billed. So these are my total hours billed, but again, I can hover over to see what my hours billed are for the separate projects. It shows me my total markup revenue and also my fee for my hours billed. It'll also show me any upcoming to-dos or events that I have, or any proposals or invoices that I need to start invoicing. So as you can see, it's going to show you proposal, PR, invoices are IN, and purchase orders are PO, and then it's going to have the project code, so MH, CTBH, and then it's going to have the number. And it's going to tell you whether you should start invoicing or whether it's past due, as here is the due date. So there are 2 things that I always suggest designers do when setting up Ivy. The first is to go into the back end of their account and set up the back end of their account here. So you just go into the top right-hand side. It should either have your initials or an image of yourself. Go into my account and then set up the back end of those details. There is also a video link. If you book in your training call, the video link should be the first link, or you should have received an email by either Dorcas or Josh. And it's just a video showing you how to set up the back end of your account. The second thing that I suggest you do is actually go into your vendor list here and add in any vendors that you are currently working with. This just makes the process of sourcing purchase orders and proposals a lot easier. So to add a vendor, you can either add it one by clicking add vendor here in the top right-hand side, or clicking on the 3 little dots, downloading our import template, and then copying any of your vendors and actually importing them into our template. and then saving that and importing this vendor list. Once you've done that, you can always add in a vendor one by one or export the vendor list so you can have it always in your computer. The next thing I'm going to show you how to do is how to set up a project. Now, I've set up a project specifically for this webinar, which is the Swiss Ski Lodge. We're just going to click on Edit Project, and I'm going to show you how to input all of the information. So what I would suggest is always creating a test project and setting yourself up as a client, and that way you can send things back and forth between yourself, and you'll actually be able to see what the client-facing documents look like. So you would just click on Add New Client, add your name, email address. It doesn't have to be the full phone number or address, don't worry, and then click on Save, and then you will be set up as a client. Once you've created a test project and you've played around with it a little bit, just send an email over to the support section. You can access support over here in the bottom left-hand side. Send an email over to support saying that you would like this specific project deleted, and we can delete it from you so it won't count towards your total amount. Next, I would add in a project name followed by a project code. The project code is extremely important because, as you saw in the global dashboard, it appears next to any document that you create for that project. So this is SSL. If you copy this and then you paste it into the top right-hand side, you'll see a spyglass. Paste it in here, you'll be able to see any documents at a snapshot. So currently I don't have any documents associated with this code, but you'll be able to see any purchase orders, proposals, or invoices. Next, you can add in the budget and the project owner. And then you can add a cover photo. This cover photo will appear on the client-facing document. Don't worry, I will show you that. And also the scope of the project. So as you can see, this is quite a big project. I've only added 3 rooms just for the purpose of showing you. And then you can add any general notes. So project addresses, initially it's just going to have your client address as the default shipping and billing address. If you'd like to add a different shipping address, click on Add Address below here. And then you can actually either select a warehouse that you deliver things to or your office, and you can set that as the default shipping address. Once you've done all that, click Save Project, and your project has been created. The next thing I'm going to do is show you how to add the product clipper to your Google Chrome as an extension. To do this, again, go into the top right-hand side, click on Product Clipper, and it's going to take you to a separate page asking you to add this as an extension. So for me, it says Remove from Chrome, but for you, it should say Add to Chrome, and then it's going to appear right here in the top right-hand side corner. As I've already added it, I'm going to show you how to clip items. So let's go into Anthropology that I've opened before and show you how to begin clipping an item. So usually this clipper tool won't be open. To open it up, you can just click on the little leaf. And then to start clipping a product, you would hover over, select the little leaf. Sometimes it can be a little tricky to access and it can play around a bit, but if you click on it, it should transfer straight over. Now you can clip 5 images, and if you'd like to set a different one as a cover image, you just hover over the smaller image. It says Set as Cover Image. Click on that, and that will be your new cover image. To add a product title, I would just highlight what I would like to take over. So I'm just going to call it a chair, add that, and then I can also highlight the cost. Now the cost here should be the cost that you actually pay for the item. So to play around with this a little bit, I'm going to click on the calculator, the blue calculator on the right-hand side. And I'm going to add the unit cost, which is the cost that I'm paying for the item, as £800. And the client price I'm going to add is $898 because I'm going to charge them retail. It automatically will calculate my markup percentage along with the total profit that I'm going to generate. As you can see, I've added this as it's automatically VAT inclusive and taxable. If I'm clipping from a website that is not VAT inclusive, so sometimes trade websites don't include VAT, I would just deselect that, and the unit cost is going to be £800. It's still taxable because I still need to add VAT to this cost. And so I would select that. But this item is VAT inclusive, so I'm going to click on that. Next, I'm just going to click set, and that's already done. Then I'm going to add in the description. So to add the description, I would just scroll to the bottom, and I'm going to add cushion fill, tight fiber, foam. Or you can actually write in your own client-facing description. So I'm just going to highlight that and then click on client description, and it transfers that straight over. Next, I'm going to select a category. Now I can either select a category that's already been created, or I can type in my own and click save, and that saves a new category. So if you're doing detailed FF&E schedules, you may not want it to be window, you may want it to be called window treatment. You can just add it as window treatment. But I'm just going to select this one for now. And then I'm going to select my vendor. And as you can see, since I've added my vendor list already, it already knows which vendor that I'm going to take this to. And this means that when I take it over into the proposal and the purchase order stage, it knows where to send the product. So anthropology. Now, if I'm not clipping for a specific project, I can just click save here. Or if I am clipping for a specific project, I can select the project that I want this to go into. We know this as the Swiss Ski Lodge. Second, I'm going to select the room, and I'm going to add this to the living room. Then you can click on additional details. So you can add additional details if you'd like. But the one detail that I think is the most important is the tagging system. The tagging system allows you to be able to increase the searchability of your item. So I'm going to tag this as black chair. It's also white. And I'm just typing the word and then clicking enter. This means that whenever I search for black chair or white chair, this chair is always going to come up. Some designers actually predetermine their tagging system. So they will tag it by item, then they will tag it by color, and then they will tag it by client if they'd like to. Just because sometimes you may associate a specific item with a specific client, and then they can save it here. And automatically that's been transferred to my products library and the room. So let's go back into my Ivy here. Here's my Swiss Ski Lodge, and it's going to be within the room inside this room board section here. But let's first go through the overview of this project, sorry. So the overview of the project will automatically show you the client information, so their address, their email address, their phone number. It's going to show you the total project budget if you've added one, if you've included one in the project section. It's going to show you the total you have invoiced and the total you have proposed. It's also going to show you any upcoming events or to-dos for this specific project, and also how much time you have billed for this project. So now I'm going to show you that Ivy is generated specifically because of the flow of a designer. So the first place that an item would go to from the clipper would be room boards. After room boards, it would go into proposal, which is separated by 3 little dots, and I'll show you where the 3 little dots are in a second. Then it would go into the invoices, then the purchase order phase. So this is my room board section. So I've just clicked into my room boards here. As you can see, I've already added in my rooms and edited them to include an image and also a budget. So this budget allows me to, when I add in a product and approve this product, it's going to show me the total budget I have left in this room. So to add a budget along with an image, the image can be anything from a mood board to an inspirational image. I know some designers actually use an empty photo of the room itself. So you click on the 3 little dots at the top right-hand side. Then you click on Edit Room Details. And you can add in a cover image here along with a budget. Then click on Save. So we added the item into the living room. Once we click into living room, this is the item that we clipped. To add in more items, you just go into the top right-hand side where it says Add Items here. Click on that. Click on Products and Services to access your product library. And here you will be able to see my library. So I'm going to add some shelves. I am going to add this cabinet. And I'm also going to add a Christmas tree because why not? Okay. Now, with room boards, you can use it 2 ways. The first way is you can actually use it to send to your client so that the client can approve or decline any items. You can also chat to your clients using this little chat icon here. You can type in, do you like this color? And when you send that to the client, they're going to be able to see that you've sent them a comment. Or you can use this internally to approve or decline items. So imagine you need 2 tables to go into a specific living room. However, you have clipped 5 because you'd like to have the choice. You can just clip 5 or more and then be able to approve and decline them internally, either with your colleagues or yourself, and just say, yes, I would like this. No, I don't want to actually take that over. And yes, I would like this. Alternatively, you can also send this to the client. So let's click Send to Client here. Never be afraid to click Send to Client because there is always a middleman that's going to stop you in between sending something to a client. It's going to say, are you sure? And if you aren't, you can just exit the client email here, add in your own email, and then send it to yourself and see what the client is seeing. Or you can click on the preview button above here. It's a blue preview button to allow you to see everything as the client would see it. So this is the client-facing dashboard. It's just showing you this room because that's all you've sent so far. And see this little icon here? It's shown you that, okay, do you like this color? And the client can actually reply to you saying, yes. And there's the reply from the client. If you click on View Project Dashboard, you'll actually be able to see what the client-facing dashboard looks like. So this is the image that we added in earlier in the project section, along with my design studio details and any documents that they have outstanding. So any invoices that are open or any invoices that are closed, and also the total open balance and the date that it's due. I'm just going to exit this one now, go back into Ivy. Now, if you do want to ever send anything to the client and make sure that you're receiving something as well, you can just click on this Add BCC button, and then you will automatically be CC'd into anything that you're sending over to the client. So it'll send it to both of you. You can also decide whether you want them to see the item pricing or to see the item quantity, or approve and decline, and edit the message and the subject line. Just going to click exit here. So I'm just going to approve all of these items myself. Anything that's been approved can be translated over into the proposal stage. Anything that has been declined cannot be transferred over into the proposal stage unless you click on undo and then approve it yourself. So to create a proposal, you use the three little dots. So whenever you're moving from one stage into another, the three little dots are your best friend. So from room boards into proposal, you click on the three little dots and then click on convert to document, and that's going to take you over into another middleman that's going to ask you whether you want a proposal or an invoice. You can also download as a PDF or view it as a spec sheet. I would suggest you play around with all of these before you decide to use your own, create your own project for a client. So create that test project and then play around with everything before you kind of start sending anything over. So I'm going to click convert to document. And you can select multiple rooms that you can take over, but because I've only added items into one room, I'm going to select the living room and click on convert. Sorry, it's taking a little time to start thinking. Okay, so here are all of the items that I have converted into a proposal. Here's the client name, the billing address, the client email, the payment terms, and also the proposal date and the due date. So you can actually edit the due date for the date that you would like this proposal to be approved by the client by, just by selecting this, and I'm going to say that I want it approved by the 7th. So here you can see you can update all of the information. So in bulk. So I can say that I would like 2 of these, 4 of these, and then keep the rest as 1 and 1. Next, I can change the markup settings. So as you can see, this is the markup settings for the chair that we just clipped. This is the 12.24%. We can actually also show the client that they're receiving a percentage off retail. If we just click on the RRP discount here and say that retail price was actually £900, show discount, and it shows the client that they're receiving 16.85% off retail. Next, we can update the shipping costs and also the tax settings. So if you click on tax settings, you can see whether the item has a standard rate of tax or isn't taxable, and similarly with the shipping. You can also update the room. So I might decide that instead of taking this into the living room, I'm actually going to take this into the master bedroom or the kitchen. And then below, it will have our memo section in which you can add your terms and conditions, and you can also select a deposit. Most designers don't select a deposit on their proposals for their products. However, they will create a deposit for their proposals for their services. But this is just to show you how it works. So once I select that I'm requesting a 70% discount, it's going to show me the exact number that I'm requesting from the client. Next, we click on save and send. You can also just click on save, but I'm going to click on save and send because most people worry about the send button. And then I'm going to say that this is going over for approval. And it's going to take us into our next phase. Okay. So here is the first proposal we've created for these products. As you can see in the client view, so this is the client view right now, it's showing us that from purchasing this chair with us as a designer, they're receiving 16.85% off retail. It also shows us all of the costs related to each item. And here it has the total cost below and the deposit requested, along with the memos that I already added in. Next, we're going to toggle over from client view to manage view so I can show you what you can do in the proposal section. So in the proposal section, I can actually ask whether I want my clients to approve items per line. So I'm going to say, yes, I do. And I can also group together any items. So imagine you're creating a bespoke chair, and you've got a chair from one vendor and fabric from another vendor, but we want to group that together for the client to see that they're receiving a chair, not necessarily fabric and a chair from a different vendor. So let's group together these two items, and all you have to do is click on one and then click on the second one, and then if you scroll down, click to group items, it's going to ask you to add in some information about these two items that you're grouping together. You can group more than two as well. So I'm going to say that this is a bespoke chair. And you can actually add in an image. You just click on choose file, and you can either add in a sketch or an image of what you expect the chair to look like, or even sometimes a finished product. You can add in your own description as well, and then click on save. Once that's saved, it's going to group the items together and show the total cost there. So when you click save, it's going to show the item to the client without allowing them to see what's inside the group. If you want them to be able to view group contents, you just go up here. So do you see where it says view group contents here? I would just toggle this over until it's blue, and then the client will be able to click on this little file and see what's inside. This is generally used if you have more than one table that you would like to send to the client and you want them to approve one of those tables. Or let's say you've got multiple items that you want to send them, and one is part of the upgraded package and the other isn't. Do they want the upgraded version or do they not? So next we're going to click on send proposal here. And again, this middleman is going to stop us saying, are you sure you're ready to send this to the proposal, to the client? If not, you would just exit your own, you'd exit their email here, type in your own, or again, click on the preview button, which takes us to a separate page showing us what the client is going to see. So this is what the client's going to see here. They see the chair, they're going to see the bespoke chair here. They're going to be able to open the file and see what's inside. And they're also going to see the Christmas tree. So if I want to decline an item here, so I want you to watch what happens to the cost. When I decline an item, the cost automatically goes down. This includes the deposit cost. So the client is always going to know what they need to pay by the end after they've either approved or declined items. So after they're done with that, they can submit this for approval. They can also view the Swiss Lodge dashboard. And if there's any other documents, they should be able to see them here. So now I'm going to exit this. Now, some designers actually would prefer not to send over a client-facing dashboard for those clients that are not tech savvy. So what they can do is they can just click on the three little dots in the top right-hand side. And then either they can view the spec sheet, so they can view the spec sheet without pricing. So let's view it without pricing. And they can print this off and actually take it with them to go see the client, so that the client can actually go through all of the items with the designer. So here it is without pricing. If you want it with pricing, it will have the prices below. And here are all of the items. And as you can see, it shows you all 5 images in the spec sheet. If you'd like to download it as a PDF, you would just click download PDF here. and it's going to create a PDF ready for you to download. And there's the deposit. So once you've sent this to the client and you've actually received a payment for them, you can actually come back in and log your payment through Ivy. So to log the payment, you would just go to the right-hand side, go to Add New Payment, click on that. Then it's automatically going to select the payment that's taken out of the deposit. We're actually going to say that they paid us £2,000. Record received payment, and then I'm going to select the payment method, which is usually bank transfer in the UK, and then I can add a reference number. So let's add 001, and then click Create Payment. Once we've done that, it automatically shows us the balance left. So because I declined items and didn't refresh, it actually shows a minus number, but it's okay, you can actually create credit. But let's approve an item here. And then it automatically shows us the balance here that's left. So if you click See Details, you'll actually be able to send your client a payment receipt. So if you click on this, and actually it'll automatically want to send them a payment receipt. So after you've received a payment from your client, send them over a receipt just to let them know that you've received the payment, and you just click Send, and it automatically will be sent to your client. Okay, so once we've finished the proposal and we're ready to start invoicing, we're going to click on the three little dots here and then click on Start Invoice. The invoicing section looks very much like the proposal. So again, you can play around with the prices. So let's say you've ordered a chair and you've told the client that it costs a certain amount. However, getting back to your vendor, if the prices have actually changed or the client actually wants more, you're actually able to change this in the invoice section. So let's say the price for this item has actually gone up. So we're going to click on the little calculator, and we're going to say the target price per unit has actually gone up to £900 for the client. Set markup, and that changes the retail price as well. Now we'll probably be able to know our shipping costs, so we'll just add those in here. And then it's going to change the overall cost below. So let's click on Save and Send. And then again, the middleman is going to pop up saying, are you sure you want to send this? So I'm not going to show you the preview of this just because it looks very similar to the proposal. What I will show you is if you would like to actually download this as a PDF, this is what the PDF would look like. So you click on the three little dots, click on Download PDF. And then what you can do if you prefer to send the client a PDF invoice rather than the client-facing dashboard is you can actually download it or print it off and send the client this PDF. Now here it has the total amount. It has the amount that you've already received, and then it also has the balance that's due. So let's exit this here. And once we've done that, we can actually add a new payment again. Now it's going to automatically take over the balance. We're going to click on record received payment, select payment method, which is usually bank transfer, and then log this reference as 002. Create payment. Once you've paid the invoice, it'll automatically be logged as paid and show up in green in the right-hand side. And then we can start purchasing. So to create a purchase order, it's extremely simple. You just click on, again, the 3 little dots on the top right-hand side, and then the next button will be create purchase order. And then it shows you all of the items with all of the vendors listed. Now in my vendor list, I've listed the vendor name, I've listed the name of my contact, I've listed their delivery address, I've also included their email address and their phone number. And all of this information will actually show up on my purchase order document, along with the shipping address that I set, the default shipping address that I set in the beginning of this webinar. So click on continue. And for all of those items, it's created 2 purchase orders. If we click on the eye, it's going to show us the items that are inside those purchase orders. So here it's going to be the Christmas tree and the shelves. And in this one, it's going to be the chair and the little bar cabinet. So the first thing you do with a purchase order is actually edit the purchase order. So we're just going to click on the purchase order here. This is the purchase order. And then we're going to click on edit in the top right-hand side. And you can actually add in the estimated shipping date here for both items. So the estimated shipping date for this might be on Monday, and the estimated shipping date for this might be on Tuesday. And it shows us the room that it goes into, shows us the shipping address, and then also all of the vendor information along with our account number. So we're going to save this purchase order here. And then to send it, it's extremely simple. We're going to click send via email, and then it'll automatically have the purchase order PDF, and we can write a little message and then click send. Once that's completed, you can change the status. And then any purchase orders that you've changed the date, the expected shipping date to, it will appear in the calendar. So now we've gone through the stream of products. We've gone through the stream of products, and I've shown you the flow of how a product can go from a proposal to a purchase order. Next, I'm going to show you the time and expenses. So the time and expenses you can do 2 ways. You can either do it manually, or we actually have a little stopwatch that allows you to select select what you're doing along with the rate. So the rates are changed in the account settings section, which again is detailed in the video that goes along with the training video. And for this, I'm going to say, okay, which project am I in? Swiss Ski Lodge. What am I doing now? I'm doing drawing. It automatically changes the hourly rate because I've set my hourly rates beforehand. Is it taxable? If I click no, then that'll be changed, but mine is. And then I select whether it's billable or not. Then I just click play, and it's going to be ticking around in the background whilst I'm doing that service. So when I've finished, when I'm completed, I just come back into Ivy and click on the little stopwatch, come back in and log time. Let's say I've let the time overrun and I've let it go on for 12 hours. I can just come back and edit this time here and say that I've actually only been working for 3. The description is extremely important. One of my colleagues was a paralegal in a past life, and she does not stress the importance of a description enough. So I'm going to say I was doing X, Y, and Z. And what's great about the description is you can actually have in the documents that you created as a result of this, and you can really make it very detailed. So I'm going to click Save. And that's automatically going to go into my time and expenses. We also do have an app which you can download on either Android or Apple phones. So if you download the app, the stopwatch is also there, along with an easy access to creating to-dos. It's incredibly simple to create to-do lists on the app, along with actually you can be out and about, take a photo of a rug that you see in a vintage shop, and upload that as a product within the app. So I'm going to show you the time and expenses, which is a second way to log your time. So I'm going to go directly into Swiss Ski Lodge. As you can see, this the drawing has already been added in here, but I can just add a new entry here, and I can select whether it's what service it is. I'm doing meetings, how long I've spent doing meetings. So if you work well with a calendar and you just want to come in and log all of your hours manually, this is really simple. You can add a description, add an attachment, and then click Save. The same with your expenses. So if you'd like to expense printing, if you would like to expense travel, you would like to expense, I don't know, lunch on your client, you can come in and add that as an entry here. To generate an invoice, it's incredibly simple as well. So you would just select all of these. It automatically highlights all of the items, or you can just select the specific ones and then click Generate Invoice, and it's incredibly simple. So here is the invoice. You can add a better description, you can request a deposit, and then we're going to click Save, and that's already done. If you'd like to edit this and actually include your flat fees within this section, you would just go to Add Products and Service here, go to All Services. So you'd click on All Products, and then right underneath is All Services. And then you can just add in all of the services that you've used. So plans, procurement, design fee. Now these flat fees can be found in the product section. And where it says products, you would just click on services and you can actually add them that way. Or you can actually add them in this section as well. Again, click on all products, all services. And right underneath it says add new service, and it's going to take you to a place where you can select the service, the category, whether it's inclusive of VAT or not, and whether it's taxable, and a description, and click on Save. Once you've saved this, that's your invoice created. The next thing to show you will be the calendar. So if you remember, we said that there were a couple of things that were due to arrive on the 3rd and the 4th. So if you can see here, it shows me all of the things that are due to arrive, where it's due to arrive from. I can actually add in a time as well and update this event. Anything that is a vendor, they will have a little truck on it. Anything that's a to-do will be in pink. To create a to-do, you'd select the project. Click on the little add next to to-dos. And you can simply click on the task, the due date, and actually assign it to one of your designers as well. All of the to-dos can be found on the app, and you can see them on your phone as well while you're on the go. The final thing to show you is the reporting section. So I'm just going to go into reports, and these are the reports that you can generate for all of your projects, or you can select certain projects, and you can also select the status and the type. So you can select, okay, do I want to see transactions, project payments, so on and so forth. I'm going to say transactions or project payment. I can select a date, I can select a project, and then I can also select the status. And then you just generate the report, and it's going to create an Excel document full of that information. Okay, so we've run through everything really quickly, and I'm going to set some time aside for any questions that haven't been answered yet. So I'm going to go back into the meeting room, and I am going to exit the screen share. Okay, lovely. I'm going to go into add questions here, see if there's any. Oh, Poppy's question's already been answered. But I can run through it again. So how many team members can I have on Ivy? Actually, you can have an unlimited amount of team members on Ivy. Ivy doesn't actually limit the amount of users you can add, which is great if you have any freelancers, because you can also set their permissions as long as you go back in and archive them once you don't use them anymore. But you can have an unlimited amount. Okay, so the next. Is it possible to watch this seminar again? Of course it's possible to watch this again. We're going to actually send over a video of this seminar, so you'll be able to see it again. Can we have invoices broken down by rooms? Yes, you can have invoices broken down by rooms as long as you're creating proposals broken down by rooms. So if from the room board section, you select a specific room and translate that over into a proposal, you can create an invoice from that specific room. And then you can go back and do the same with each. Can you explain creating mood board section? So we don't actually have mood boards. We have our room boards, but we can show you to create. I can show you how to. Ooh, I lost your question. I can show you how to create a room board. So you just go into Ivy. Let me share my screen again. Just going into Ivy. And you can do this two ways. So the first way is you would go into Swiss Lodge. So any project, you can go into Edit Project here. And it's really simple to add multiple rooms here. So I can say bedroom, and I'm just typing in bedroom, and then I click Enter, and the bedroom's been created. So I'm going to save this project. Go into room boards. And this is what your room will look like once you've created it. You can also go into add new room here in the room board section. And to edit this, all you'd have to do is click the three little dots, edit room details here. I'm going to change that to a capital. And then add a budget, and then I would just browse to get an image. So what I would do is I'd find an image, either I can have a color scheme, or I can look for an inspirational image on Google or Pinterest or wherever I would get inspiration from, Instagram, and I would use that as my cover image. I can also set a budget and then a description, and then click save, and then it'll create a room like this. So as you can see, the room budgets have changed because I've approved items. So once you've approved an item, the room budget changes. And if it's green, you're still under the budget. If it turns red, you've gone over budget for that room. Okay. Okay, perfect. I think I've answered all of the questions for today. If you have any more, please send over an email to support@ivy.co. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and I hope you all have a lovely Friday and a lovely weekend. If you do have any more questions, please don't hesitate. Oh, thank you, Stuart. Thanks, Poppy. Okay. Bye, everyone.